Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're doing a very much requested boob job Q&A.
Lights, camera, action, smoking that dope from Edmond. We the new meth and Redmond. We ain't real blood, but we brethren. Run up a check and it's pending.
Now, if you haven't been here before, then I actually had my surgery back in May. So I had it on the 22nd of May, so that is nearly 12 weeks ago. So I thought it would be a perfect time now for me to sit down and just answer some of your questions, because I know that lots of them are very much the same. So I thought if I had it documented, then you guys can always just refer back to this. Before I get into this video, I just want to say I am not promoting any kind of surgery here. I'm just trying to help women who were like me or who are interested, want to know more. And it's so important, if you do choose to go ahead with surgery, to know exactly what you're doing and be 100% certain on what you're doing, because it is life-changing and you just need to be really sure of it. So I'm here to help you and just give you my own personal advice and my own personal opinions. Obviously it's my opinion, so make sure that you also look at other girls' opinions and other people's experiences, and of course whatever the surgeon says, go with that. So we'll just jump right in with the first question. The first one is, where did you have it done? Now, I'm based in London. I did look at getting it done in other places such as Manchester, but I just kind of thought that I didn't want to be going to Manchester, having it done, coming back here, not feeling 100%, and also maybe having, I don't know, a complication, and then not being able to get back to Manchester because it's such a long drive. So I chose to go to London. Now, I had to drive around an hour and 40 minutes for my surgery, and it was at the Royal Free Hospital in London. And my surgeon was Jag Chana. I'll put his Instagram here. I had such a great experience with my surgeon. I was actually recommended him by a friend, and then once I spoke to more people recommended him, so it was just kind of meant to be. Also, when I went to my consultation, so you get one consultation and then you obviously decide everything and then go home, decide if you want to go through with it, or if the surgeon's not for you, then great, move on, get a new surgeon. But yeah, when I went to my consultation, he made me feel so welcome and kind of just understood everything that I wanted. What I wanted was very natural. I didn't want to have big round boobs. That was my fear. And I said I just wanted it really natural. I wanted it to fit my size. I wanted to be in proportion. And he recommended a certain size, and we spoke about it. We spoke about everything that I kind of wanted, and he said, Ellie, if you'd wanted to go big and unnatural, I wouldn't have done it. I only do natural surgeries. So the fact that he said that made me feel just so much better about the situation, because looking on Instagram, obviously I want to see you shop around what you do. You kind of see a surgeon's work, and it's really important to look at their previous kind of work and see if it's something that you want. And a lot of surgeons that I was looking at, their work was so big and round, and it really scared me, because I didn't want that. But I had seen good boob jobs, so I knew it was possible. I just needed to find the right person that kind of understood what I wanted, and I found it. Fully recommend him if you are looking for a surgeon, and if you're based in London, or if you're based not in London, definitely check him out. The hospital was actually so nice as well. It was a really small hospital. The nurses were incredible. They were so friendly. Yeah, it was the best experience, honestly. I had never ever been put to sleep before, and so I was worried, but it was just the easiest thing in the world. I turned up on the day. My surgery was meant to be at 9:30, but I turned up early. They got me in as soon as I was there. I had a few questions, before photos, and then they put the catheter in my hand. They couldn't actually find my vein at first. They had to swap it over, which was a little bit annoying, but it was fine. And then I had all my gowns on and stuff, and I had to walk myself over to the bed. So walk myself over to the operating table, laid down, and we were just talking about, we were talking about going on holidays or something, and they were putting a hairnet on me, and we were just literally having a chat, me and the nurses, and then suddenly before I knew it, I'd woken up, and that was it. It was the best thing ever. I told the nurse actually before I went under, she was like, is there anything that you're worried about? And because I've got quite low blood pressure, I was like, I'm really worried about waking up and feeling really faint and sick. And my family have all had operations, and both my sister and dad kind of said the same. So I told them that. And before I actually went under anaesthetic, they gave me an anti-sickness tablet, and they checked my blood pressure so many times. They were like, don't worry, you won't feel like that. Woke up, genuinely never felt like that ever. I don't know what I was worrying about. If you have a fear, or if you're worried, just talk to the nurses. Talk to them. The more you say, the more that they will help you. And I'm so glad I did that. It was such a breeze. I can't even describe how much of a breeze it was. After 3-4 hours after surgery, my boyfriend picked me up, went home, and then just recovered for the next 2 weeks. That was basically my experience. The next question is, how long was recovery? So yeah, it took me around, I'd say for a good 4 days, I was just laying here on the sofa, just watching films, taking it really, really easy, because you have to be careful like in the first few days of like blood clots and stuff, because obviously you've had an anesthetic. So you have to wear like DVT socks, which are like long socks, compression socks, and you just like are on quite a bit of painkiller. Although saying that, I didn't take any. I took cocodamol once on the first night and it literally sent me like weird. So the next day I was like, I'm not taking that ever again. So I just stayed on paracetamol and I was literally fine, like wasn't in any pain. First like 3-4 days I was literally like just lying here on the sofa, and then after that I got myself dressed one day. I had a bit of a shower, but downstairs shower. I was able to do a little bit more. I remember like walking to the coffee shop, which was like 2-3 minutes away, and I was really out of breath. Next day I went for dinner, and then after that it just got like better and better and better, and after like 2 weeks you kind of feel fine. So I had bandages on. After a week I got the bandages off, so I had to go all the way back, and then after 2 weeks I had the stitches out. So yeah, you have to have like a couple of follow-up appointments, and then after 6 weeks I actually went back to see the surgeon again, just like a final checkup. So they really do like check that you're all okay, which is really kind of comforting as well and really reassuring, because if you have any questions, like if you're worried, then you can just ask them. And yeah, like they're always available to like WhatsApp as well. Like one of the ladies who was with my surgeon, she just gave me her WhatsApp number and I could message her whenever I wanted, which was just the best thing. Yeah, that's how long it took for recovery. The next question is, how long till you were working out? Now, because I'm obviously fitness, after 2 weeks I started going on like longer walks, and then I remember being at my dad's and I went for like a gentle cycle for like 15 minutes on like a stationary bike, and that was fine. Like it was literally just really gentle. I kind of just built it up, so I was doing like 20-minute walk, and then after 4 weeks I did legs. I trained my legs the first time. It still felt like a little bit, I couldn't pick up any weights or anything like that. I just did like body weight, or I got like my boyfriend to put the plates on the machines and stuff. And then after 6 weeks went back to the surgeon. He was like, you can train upper body, but to be honest I've only really just got back into training upper body because it just still didn't feel quite right, and I think you know your body and you know you, so just do it whenever you're right. But I will probably never do any press ups, never any chest work. I've kind of seen what happens when women do chest work when they've got breast implants, and what can happen is they can actually move apart. That's one thing I really don't want to do. I want to protect them. I've paid loads of money for these. I love them. But yeah, I'm not really fussed though, because who likes a press up? 12 weeks post surgery now. I'm lifting pretty much, to be fair, not the way I was lifting, but it's getting a little bit better, which is good. It feels better. I can do all my movement. I remember when I did like a barbell press for the first time, and I was literally like it was so hard. Just take it easy. Like if something's really like difficult, don't do it. Wait until it feels better, and yeah, it's like, you know, it's fine. So the next question is, what size were you before and what size are you now? So do you know what, it's hard because I never wore actual bras, and I know that sounds really weird, but I never ever bought a bra really, because I didn't have anything. I was genuinely flat chested. So I would say I was probably like a 32A, and now I'm a 32D. I went up 3 cup sizes, and the implant size that I got was 330cc size. So yeah, I went up about 2.5-ish cup sizes. Like I am now a D. I love it. I go shopping. I'm really excited to go shopping for bras. I love going dress shopping. It's just the best thing, like finally having a pair of boobs to like fit into, and I honestly feel like so much more feminine, just so much more confident as well. Like I've been on a couple of holidays. It's just so nice like looking at myself. It's really weird to say, but when I didn't have boobs, I really focused on like how lean I was, and what I kind of saw in the mirror was just like, I really focused on like abs because I didn't have boobs. But now I have boobs, so I don't really kind of focus on it so much because I'm really happy with how I look. So yeah, it's a weird like kind of concept. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyways, next question. What made you want to get it done? Do you know what, like when I was growing up, like when I was at university, so when I was like 18, 19, 20, it never ever bothered me. I genuinely didn't really care. And then it was only like from probably, I'd say 23 maybe, that it started to kind of bug me a little bit. Like I was going on holiday, wouldn't wear bikinis, I only really wore swimsuits. And last year when I went to Dubai, it kind of like occurred to me when a few people messaged me being like, you never ever wear bikinis. And I'm like, that is so true. Like I never had photos from the front because I hated what I look like, and I work so hard on my body. Like I go to the gym, I work out, I take care of myself, I eat well, and I still wasn't happy with my body. And your boobs are something that you can't change. For me, it kind of just built up over like the last 3 years, and it just finally got to a point where I was like, do you know what, like what is stopping me from doing something about it? And I think it was A, like people's opinions. I didn't want to do it and people to like think differently of me because I'm fitness and health. B, probably like my family, to be honest. Like I didn't know what my dad was gonna say. And see, I didn't want to be promoting something that, you know, some people can't afford, or that some people don't agree with, or that, you know, obviously there's risk to something. So it was like a number of things. I think I just came to the point where I was like, I need to do this for me. And actually, this goes on to the next question where someone asked, what did your family think? I'm scared what mine will say. I was the same. I was frightened about what they were going to say. Not my mum, really. I knew my mum would be fine. It was more so like my dad, because obviously boobs are kind of like, I want to say like a sexual thing, but you get what I mean. So yeah, I told my mum, and surprisingly, she was like, oh yeah, she was like, I mean, if you want to do it, do it. And she actually said, she was like, yeah, I went through a few consultations, and she was like, and then I just decided that I wasn't really that happy, but I fell pregnant anyway. So, you know, hers kind of went down that route, but she like was like me, she was completely flat chested, so she got it. It's like, actually, she was like, your father took me to my consultations, and I was like, oh, did he now? So when she said that, it made me feel a little bit better, because I was like, so he's kind of for it. When I went home one time, I kind of just bought it up. My sister did kind of drop me in it like a few weeks before and said that I was thinking of getting it done, so she did kind of break the ice, but also didn't really appreciate that. But yeah, when I went home and I spoke to my dad about it, and we were just like in the garden, I was like, yeah, I think I want to get it done. Well, he was like, obviously there's a lot to think about, like there's a risk to it, but then he started like recommending surgeons, and I was like, okay, fine, he's fine with it. Do you know what, I think with like dads as well, it's kind of, it's not awkward, but it's kind of like, okay, like whatever, do what you want. But he was just like, just don't go stupid size. He was, you know, he was kind of saying that. And his partner, she's got massive, like really big boobs, naturally, bless her. She was kind of just like, I really don't want big boobs. So she was like, just be careful, you don't go too big. But I really appreciated the advice, because obviously, you know, you need everyone's opinion. But I knew myself as well that I wasn't going to go big, so I was happy to go ahead with it. Like I had this surgeon in my head. I kind of already paid the deposit before I spoke to my dad. But you know, we moved. He doesn't know that unless he watches this video. The next question is, oh, what are your scars like? So what happens with the scars is that obviously they have to heal, have to like seal together. I actually had like internal and external stitches, and my surgeon's quite known for like his stitching and how well he does it. My scars at the moment, like they are a little bit pink, but he did say they will go really pink and then they will fade out. So what happens is the capillaries, I think he said recapillarize. That makes sense, but I don't know. Yeah, they are like quite pink. He said do not get them in the sun, so whenever I've been on holiday, I've been putting like a little bit of micro pore tape on them, and they're fine, like they've been covered, but they are like very like that big. You can kind of see there. So they are like little pink kind of scars. But yeah, they're not very big at all. They will fade. And to be honest, like obviously when you get a boob job, you have to bear in mind that you have to get it done every kind of 10 years. You're always gonna have a scar. Like even if you had a good scar now, you might not have a good scar when you get it done in 10 years. Although saying that, like some women don't actually get them done again. When I spoke to my surgeon about it, he was like, he said that the longer that you keep them after 10 years, the more likely you are to have like complications. And for me, I just don't think that's a good kind of risk to take. I wanna look after my body. He said after 5 years, we will have like a scan just to check that everything's okay, and then I think you have one like every 2 years after that, just to ensure that everything's all good. And I think it's really reassuring to know that they do look after you in that kind of way, and they do, you know, want to check up on you. And he said, he was like, if you're worried about anything anytime, just come back, and yeah, we'll obviously like here to help. Okay, the next question is, did I choose textured or smooth, and why? So with my implants, this is probably like one of the hardest things for me to kind of decide, because being a biology student, I did so much research into this, like researching the risks and the benefit. It was kind of like a 50-50 split, because the thing is, in the US, they only really use smooth. So that was kind of one thing that I was a bit like, why do they only use smooth? But in Europe, they only really use, or in the UK, they only really, a lot of it is textured. And also every single teardrop implant is textured, because it has to be, otherwise it will flip. And in Australia, they use a lot of texture, but they also do a bit smooth. So like information for and against both of them, but what I kind of got that was that with smooth, there is a higher chance of capsular contracture, because the implant can move around in the pocket quite a bit. And with capsular contracture, it was quite a big kind of chance of you getting that. So I think it was around 1 in 100 of you actually getting that, which is quite big. So with the textured ones, there was a risk of getting a type of lymphoma. So it's a type of kind of blood cancer. I think it's a type of cancer. And the risk of you getting that type of cancer was like 1 in 30,000. So obviously it's a much smaller risk, but a much bigger thing. So instead of getting capsular contracture, which is just where the implant has like so the implant's sat in like the pocket, and what can happen is this pocket can like harden, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. With the texture and the type of cancer, obviously it's the type of cancer, so it's a much bigger kind of thing, and it sounds a lot scarier, but the risk is quite low, and it's not kind of 100% proven. I think it's only been with certain brands and stuff, depending on like the texturality of the implants. The more textured the implant is, the bigger the risk, I think. And there was a brand called Allergen that, I think it was Allergen. God, I'm really like, I think. There was a brand, anyways, let's say a brand, that actually had its implants recalled because there was this risk that was quite like known. So, you know, there's a risk with either of them, but for me, like the amount of people I spoke to about it, and for what I did, because I'm an active person, I decided that the textured was the better one for me. I didn't want it to be like moving around so much, and also after like looking at people and speaking to people as well, the textures just sit better for me. But I wanted it to be quite natural looking. Round can be quite like, I don't know, it can move around a bit, even though it is softer to touch apparently. So yeah, that was my decision. In all honesty, I don't think I should have pondered over it so much. I think, you know, whatever, there's a risk to either, and you know, you just need to decide which one's better for you really. I think the fact that swayed me over was the fact that all teardrop implants are textured anyway, and I know a lot of women with teardrop implants, so I was kind of like, well, they're all textured. So yeah. Okay, moving on. Next question was, what profile implant did you get? Now, I didn't really get to choose this. It was kind of like based on my body and my shape, and I think that's how it probably should be. They'll recommend you like a kind of one to get, and my surgeon said no, you need to get high profile, so I got high profile. I don't know if you can really choose it. I know that my friend did choose hers, but I think it really does depend on like your diameter and stuff like that. And then the next question is, what brand of implant did you get? So I got Negor implants. I think there are quite a few brands of implants, but just check like obviously the warranty and any kind of like reviews, recalls, etc. Just double check before you obviously get them. Next question is, what shape implant did you get? Now, I didn't go for teardrop because there wasn't really a need, and I think a lot of women when they first look into getting implants think that they need to get the teardrop ones because that's the most natural, and actually it's not the case. You know, you can get round ones and then being still natural. So yeah, I got round implants and I also got them under the muscle. Now, I didn't really have a choice in terms of like under or over. It's based on like how much skin you have and also the look that you want. The surgeon said to me, he was like, you need to go dual plane, which is basically under the muscle, and he said this was the most natural and it will just suit your figure, and because I had no boobs, I couldn't really go over. I think also like looking at women and women that had implants before, you can kind of tell like who's gone under or over, because over time also drop down quite low. They're not very like high here, whereas obviously under the muscle they're held up by the muscles because they're a little bit higher. And for me, that was the kind of look that I wanted to go for as well, so I was quite happy to go under the muscle. But I also think that, you know, you should go with whatever the surgeon says is right for you, because I know also a good friend of mine, she had her boobs done and the surgeon said to go over the muscle. She went under the muscle and now she's got like a massive kind of space here, and I think she just kind of wishes that she'd listened to the surgeon a little bit. It's all about doing what's right for you, listening to your surgeon. They know a lot more than I do, a lot more than you do, so it's best to take their advice, and I'd probably like recommend seeing a few surgeons just to get a kind of general opinion. Okay, next question is, what are your thoughts on breast implant illness? Now, breast implant illness, if you haven't heard of it before, it's something that's quite big in the breast implant world. I'm not a professional on it, but of course I did my research, and I kind of just think like everyone is going to have adverse effects. I definitely fully believe that some women are 100% suffering and more probably needs to be done about it and more advice needs to be given. And to be fair, when I had my consultation, the surgeon mentioned it and he did say about it, and he said that obviously there is a risk. Most women, once they get the, say if they have breast implant illness, which cannot be diagnosed by the way, it is like, it's just down to that person. They have to like give this like range of symptoms, and you know, if it's something that the woman fully believes is happening to her, then she can just get the implants taken out. So if you do have it, it is something that you can get reversed. My kind of view on it is, I have never suffered with any kind of depression, mental kind of health problems. I'm a really healthy person. I've never had like any autoimmune diseases or anything like that, and I do believe that breast implant illness, you know, I think the more you like look into something and the more that you read into something, like breast implant illness has so many symptoms and side effects, and I just think maybe she would have been more prone to getting that even if she didn't have the implant. But I also really believe that, you know, women get these taken out and they feel so much better. So, you know, it's down to the individual, and I think it's a risk that you take, and you have to sum it up in your head and be, if I get this breast implant illness, is this going to be like really detrimental to me and my health? Me, I just kind of thought no, because if I get it, I'm just taking them out. You know, any kind of adverse signs or effects, I will get them taken out. That's just basically my opinion on it. I just think you need to understand the risks, and you know, if you get any of the symptoms, then of course go to the doctor, go to the GP, just check that you're okay. If you need to get them taken out, then of course, you know, you need to get them taken out, but it's not the end of the world, you know, and the main thing is that you will be okay. The next question is, are you happy with the size and would you go bigger? Choosing the size was really hard because at first, when I first wanted to get my boobs done, I was like, I want to go 200 and I think it was 80cc or something. When I went to the surgeon, he was like, you can get anything from 270 to 330. He gave me that range. I kind of went away and I was like, yeah, I want 270. Oh yeah, I think that was 270 I wanted. I was like, yeah, I want that. And when I tried the implants on, because you try them on in your consultation, when I tried them on, I was kind of like, yeah, they look really good, but going away and like thinking about it and speaking to so many women, they were like, I wish I went bigger, because obviously when you get it done, you're scared about what they're gonna look like. I didn't want them to look big, so I was like, I'm gonna go with the smallest ones. But after speaking to so many people, they were like, don't go with the smallest, don't make that mistake that I made. Like when you first get them done, they feel really big, and then after time, they just slowly like settle into your body, they get smaller. Speaking to people made me kind of change my decision. So in my appointment, I actually went back again because I wasn't sure. So we then chose 300cc, and then I came away and I did like the rice test over there, and I was like putting bags of rice in my chest because 300cc is 300 grams. So I put them in my chest and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go bigger. And also when you go under the muscle, you lose half a size as well. So yeah, decided to go for 330cc. I am so freaking happy with the size that I went. I'm so glad I didn't go any smaller. Would I go bigger? No, I'm glad I went the size that I did go. But in future, I will probably have to go bigger because you can't go any smaller. So, you know, it's fine. But when I look in the mirror, like they're not big boobs. They're like nice, they're perfect. But yeah, I think, you know, in future, I'll probably have to go a bit bigger, but it's fine. I'll probably put on weight when I get older, so it'll balance out. Did your nipples change in sensitivity? So no, I didn't get that, which is weird because I know some women do, but my friend also didn't get that. The only thing that changed in sensitivity slightly was where the scar is, because obviously like all the nerves have been cut. That was really brutal, wasn't it? Yeah, all the nerves have been cut, so they all have to like regenerate. And of course there is a chance that they won't like regenerate, but mine's literally fine. I can feel everything there now. And I never really lost anything in my nipples at all. It was just a little bit under there, like you'd feel it and you wouldn't really feel it. Okay, the next question is, can you sleep on your chest with it? And no, I can't sleep on my chest yet. It's a really weird feeling, like it feels strange. So no, I can't do that yet. I know obviously as they get better you can, but I'm quite like a squeamish person, and for me it just feels like, ugh, it feels weird. Okay, last question is, did I struggle initially with the change in my appearance and clothes not fitting? And the answer is no. Like I literally loved it. I loved how I finally fitted my clothes. My clothes size hasn't changed. When I first had them done, I was buying like medium sports bras, and I've always been a small, and they were huge. Like it was so big on me. But this is a small, and I've always been a small, and I just fit it so much better now. I don't think you realize like how versatile like clothing size is, because yeah, I fully assumed that I'd be like a 12 up top, and I'm not. I'm like an 8-10. So no, my clothing size didn't change for like a negative way. It changed in like a really positive way for me. The reason I wanted to get it done was because I wanted to fit clothes, I wanted to feel more feminine, and I just wanted to be a little bit more kind of, what's the word, like shapely. But yeah, I think I've answered pretty much everyone's questions. If you have any more questions, then just pop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But I hope this helps some of you if you're thinking about surgery or if it's kind of crossed your mind. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure that you give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
I'm tired of fighting, saying things we don't mean. You know I don't like it when you're packing your bag and turning your back, calling me a liar.